Yo, what's good YouTube gang? I'm Jay Pats, and today we're going to be talking about 8 tips that you can use to improve your melodies, just make them sound better, more professional, or just achieve the sound that you're looking for. First tip is to study the music that you like and the history behind it. And I always say this, and I think it goes over a lot of producers' heads because either they don't want to put the time in to do that because it feels like homework, or I don't know what the reason is, but it's such a crucial part and it's going to help improve your melodies so much. Because think about it, if you want to make a sample that sounds like a soul record from the 70s, or you want to make a beat that sounds like something Griselda would rap on, for example, don't you think it would be smart to understand the source material and where things are coming from? Crucial things that you might want to study about the history could be the year it was made, the equipment that they were using, the technology that is around, the times that they were living in, common chord progressions that they used, producers that worked on the songs or the records back then. Study them and really just listen and be a student of the game, and I guarantee it's going to put you above all the producers that are too lazy to do that, and it's just going to level your samples up so much. So don't sleep on this tip. Tip number 2 is to learn basic music theory. Now, I'm not saying go and get a degree and become a music buff and learn the ins and outs of music theory. I'm just saying learn the bare basics like minor, major scale, and just really basic stuff like that. And what I'm actually going to do at the end of this video is try to explain just the basics about it and what I understand, because what I understand is very simple, but it helps a lot and you'll just know how to stay in key. So watch the video to the end for that tip. Tip number 3 is just to try shit and throw things at the wall, because sometimes the best melodies that I make are by mistake or with experimentation and just no expectations really. Like for example, sometimes I'll just play the little MIDI keyboard that I have and I don't even know how to play the keys properly. And I'll just hit like a sequence of notes that I would never done if I wasn't doing that, and it sounds dope, and then I just keep it. So don't sleep on this, I'm telling you. Tip number 4 can oftentimes separate a dope melody and a really bad one, and that is just sound selection and sound design. So this goes back to the first tip actually, where I was saying to study the history of the music that you like or that you want to create, because then again you're going to know the equipment that was used because you were studying the history of it. You know what they were doing, and by doing so you're going to understand the VSTs that emulate what they were doing back then. So certain preamps, tape emulators, reverbs, compressors, delays, preamps, all those things they were using on instruments or sounds back then. And if you're trying to make it sound like the 70s, you kind of want to be using the VST version of that, especially if you don't have access to the actual equipment. The tip number 5 can actually be really helpful if you experience beat block. Personally, I don't believe in beat block. I just think it's overthinking and you just need to step away, go for a walk or do something else. But with that being said, this can help a lot if you feel like you're in a creative block, and that is just setting scale highlighting to a scale that you're not familiar with. So for example, I'm just going to this MIDI. I can set this scale to like E Hungarian minor. And it's like, bro, I don't know that scale off by heart, but by having it highlighted can make me play some different stuff, and I can learn a whole new scale would have never otherwise known about. And oftentimes it can result in a lot of crazy and dope sounding melodies that sound really cool. Don't sleep on this tip because I know you can do it in Ableton and in FL Studio. So give that a try if you're feeling beat block, even though I don't believe in that personally. Tip number 6 is really basic and probably something you don't want to hear, but it's just be consistent and have that work ethic, because I was literally just talking with a family member about this today, and I was saying it's cool how just from being consistent, like really consistent, I've had people that I'm aware of in the industry reach out to me and just tap into what I'm doing just because I've been putting stuff out consistently. So if that's you, I recommend figuring out something that you can put out consistently, whether it's content, sending out sample packs, sending out beats. Just do whatever you do consistently really well, and people are going to be attracted to that. Tip number 7 is just to keep it simple. Think about it. You've definitely gone and watched some of those tutorials on YouTube of hit songs where they showed you how they made the melody. You're like, what? It was that simple? And it really just is. The easier it is for the listener to catch on to, and the catchier that it is, the better. And sometimes that's just the simple melody. It's just gonna win. So keep that in mind and don't overthink. And final tip, I'm gonna show you just basic music theory as promised and how I understand it. Let me turn off scale highlighting. And it's really basic. For me, I like sadder, darker music. My thought process becomes really simple because there's basically 2 things I think about when I'm making a sample in my style. And that is 1, being in a minor scale. It's really basic because to be in a minor scale, it's just a set of rules or steps that you need to take. If I want to be in C minor, I'm gonna start from C because that's a root note. And I'm gonna go a whole step, which means skipping one note and going to the next one. Half step, which means going to the next note. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. And now this is the C minor scale. So you've literally just created the C minor scale, and any of these notes that you play are going to be in key. And that's applicable to any key you want to play in. So if I want to be in F minor, I could just move this up and the root note's at F, and now I have an F minor scale. And you could really just learn that and play it really quickly. Like for me, I have the F minor scale memorized, I have C minor scale memorized. I have a lot of these memorized, but you can figure out any single one. Another trick, if you don't really want to learn the minor scales, is just to play all the white keys starting from A. And that's a A minor scale. Just like I said before, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. It's really that simple. Do not overthink this, and that's why I say to people, just learn basic music theory, because I just taught you this in a matter of minutes, like probably 1 or 2 minutes, and I didn't think this through before anything. It's just really that simple, so I wanted to show you guys. Don't make it harder than it needs to be, and just do this. Whole step, half step, whole step, half, whole, whole. I'll put that on the screen too so that you can visualize it. And just memorize that and you know any minor key. Hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, please don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell, because it really just helps out my channel and kind of just keeps me motivated to continue making videos for you guys and sharing my knowledge. So thanks for tapping in. I'm Jay Pats. Peace.